Hey everybody, Jim LeDuc here. I'm here to tell you another story about my life. This one happens to be about my first and one and only fight. I was never a fighter. I wasn't much a lover fighter. I mean, I just was in high school. I was a little awkward. I was immature. I was a late bloomer. I grew 2 inches after I graduated from high school. So I was young for high school. I was emotionally, psychologically, and physically young. And so I was a little squirrely. Well, I was pretty popular, but from sports and friends and things like that. But um, I still had some insecurities. I was really a big guy. Like in fourth grade, everybody had an orange desk, and I had a brown desk because it was bigger. I mean, I was just kind of a thing to kind of stare at. I felt like I was a zoo animal sometimes. But anyway, lots of friends, good memories, crazy teachers, weird teachers, but high school, right? Well, in fourth grade, my fighting career started kind of. I remember coming home from school one time, I was talking to this guy, and we both kind of liked this girl, which I'm not sure what that means in fourth grade. But he said, "You want to fight about it?" And I said, "Yeah, let's fight." And so we kind of grabbed each other, went to the ground. We were kind of rolling around on the grass in each other's grasp, but no punches were thrown. And finally, after rolling around a while, he said, "Hey, do you want to stop? I'll stop if you stop." And I said, "Well, I'll stop if you stop." So we stopped, and that was that. I remember playing football, starting football in fifth grade, and I had to play with seventh graders because I was big. And so they were a lot more aggressive and mature than I was. And frankly, I was worried about hurting people. I remember one time I tackled the quarterback and I kind of fell on him, and I heard all the air go out of his lungs when I landed on top of him, and I saw his eyes roll back in the back of his head. And I thought, I've killed this poor guy. Of course, he came to and stuff, but I was always worried about hurting people. So I was never really as aggressive and mean in football like I was in basketball. For some reason, I just had a lot more intensity in basketball. Uh, but anyway, so moving on to high school, when I was a sophomore, I got into my one and only fight. And when I was a sophomore, my brother Dan was a senior. And to kind of set the stage for this fight, I have to go back in time and tell you a little bit more about Dan, my brother. He was 2 years older than me. When I was a sophomore, like I said, he was a senior. But we had a downstairs basement in our house in Idaho. We were rednecks. We wore overalls and flannel shirts, and we loved to hunt and fish and the outdoors. So it's different than where I've lived now. In fact, the majority of my life in California. But uh, Dan was just plain mean. And when we were growing up in uh, childhood, I always wanted to hang out with him and his friends, but it wasn't possible. I mean, one time, mom and dad made him like have me join in with his friends. So he said, "Okay, hey Jimmy, guess what? We're starting a club. It's called Zero Fort X." And he made these little cards on the chance cards of Monopoly. And on the blank side, he put Zero Fort X, except he spelled it wrong and he spelled it Zero Fart X. But anyway, he said, if you want to be in our club, you have to do a couple of things. So, first of all, he made me go out in the backyard and take my shirt off and roll in the grass, just freshly mown grass with my shirt off. Now, I had allergies to grass, so I just started getting this terrible rash. And then he wrapped the soaker hose around me, the long, thin hose that has all the holes in it. And then when the water hit, of course, it stung. And he thought that was pretty funny. He said, "Okay, you have one more thing to do to join our fort." And I said, "What's that?" And he said, "You have to take off all your clothes and run out and touch the dog dish on our back patio and then come back in." And I said, "I don't want to do that." He goes, "Well, you have to. You're not in the club." So I said, "Okay." So I remember taking off my clothes, of course, self-conscious. But at our house, we had kind of a hill in the back of our yard, and it was kind of sagebrushy, and there were still houses around, but it was relatively secluded. So we had this beautiful Malamute dog, Duchess. She was amazing. But anyway, all I had to do was run past the little patio and touch the dog dish, and then run back inside. So I ran outside, and just as I touched the dog dish, Dan locked the door of the sliding glass door. And he and his friends were laughing and pointing at me. And I was out there, and I was so mad and embarrassed. And I kept pounding on the door, and he wouldn't let us in. He wouldn't let me in. I mean, and I wasn't about to go in the front yard and try the front door because, that's where all the people are. So I just kept pounding. And finally, he let me in. And he said, "Oh, by the way, there is no club. There is no Zero Fortex. And I was just teasing you." So I told on him. That was my only defense. He got in trouble. So fast forward to when I was a sophomore in high school. Now, we went to these dances that were community dances. They could be sponsored by churches or what other organizations, and they were fed by 3 different high schools, Boise, Bora, and Capital. And sometimes Mountain Home and sometimes Meridian. But anyway, high school students. So my friends and I, we do dumb things at these dances. We were very insecure. I was. We'd always go hide in the bathroom during slow songs. First of all, we didn't want to ask a girl to dance in fear of rejection. And second of all, we didn't want to be asked in case we were, asked by someone who was not very good looking. And then, we just didn't want to do that. We were socially immature, big time. What we would do in these dances, we did different things. Like one time we made these cardboard signs, like cardstock, and we put 1 to 10 on 10 cards, 1 through 10. Then on a slow song, we'd go out and we'd find girls that were either cute or not so cute, and we'd put a card up. So if it was a cute girl, we'd put like an 8 or a 9. If it was an ugly girl, we'd put a 3 or 2. But that was rude and mean. We normally did it to girls we knew, and so they kind of laughed it off. And usually cute girls, we put a 2 and, just squirrely stuff. So one time, a friend of ours who worked at 7-Eleven brought this big stack of these stickers. They're about this big, these stickers, and they were called Hot to Go. That was the slogan on them, Hot to Go. And Hot to Go was 7-Eleven's way of competing with fast food restaurants by offering frozen sandwiches, burritos, all kinds of stuff. And then students during lunch could go in, and go to 7-Eleven and microwave. That was when microwaves came out, microwave the sandwich and go eat it and be on their way back to school. So we thought, what can we do with these Hot to Go stickers? What to do? And so we came up with this idea that we'd ask girls to slow dance, and then we'd peel off the back and have it in our hand, sticky side up, and we'd ask a girl to dance, and we would rub it into her back, and then thank them and go back and watch them. They go back to their friends, and friends would show them the sticker, and they'd get all mad, and we'd laugh, and it was just stupid. And then one time we did this, I'm not proud of it, but there was this girl, and her name was Pat, and she was at the dances, and a lot of people knew who she was, and she danced kind of funny, and she was kind of large, and she did this kind of dumb dance, and so we called it the Fat Pat. And I'm not proud of that because I was pretty pudgy at the time myself. I mean, I was playing football, so I was just big all over. But anyway, we did the Fat Pat. So we'd go ask girls to dance, and all the guys would line up on one side of the basketball half court line, and the girls would line up on the other side. They didn't know what was going on, so we would all do the Fat Pat. I'll kind of show you, even though the screen's, I can't back up because the office is small. But anyway, the dance kind of went like this. And we'd rotate feet from one foot to the other. And then the girls would figure out what we were doing, and they'd get all mad, and they'd leave, and we'd laugh, and just dumb things. So one time, now my brother at these dances, he was Dan. I mean, he was mean and aggressive and tough. In fact, he played lineman. Even though he was only 6 feet tall, like 180 pounds in football in high school, because he was just so darn mean. But anyway, at the dances, when he was a senior, he was most likely found on a chair in some dark corner making out with some girl. So while we were doing our squirrely stuff, he was making out, and didn't matter who really. He'd just go find someone and make out with them, and that was kind of his thing. Well, one night me and my friends were just kind of goofing off, and we were kind of pointing and laughing at some girl for some dumb reason. And this guy walks up to me. He's got a full beard and he's muscular. He's big and muscular and mean looking. And he has like 3 friends with him. And he walks up to me and my friends kind of back up a little bit. And he says, "Hey, how come you're pointing at me and making fun of me?" And I said, "Oh man, I'm sorry you thought that. We were making fun of that some girl. I wasn't doing that to you. I don't know who you are. I'm sorry if you thought that." But about this time, he reaches back and punches me right on the lip, right in the mouth, right there. Now, this is one of those times where your body doesn't compute what happened because you can't prepare for it because it's never happened before. And so I just kind of stared at him like this. I just didn't say anything. I just stared. And my lip was bleeding a little bit, and I just kind of like baffled, confused. So I didn't swing back. So he figured, well, no fight here. So he and his friends walked off. Well, now I'm freaking out. My friends, "What happened? What'd you do?" I go, "I didn't do anything." And thanks, by the way, thanks for supporting me, you chickens, you cowards. We walked away. So I figured there was going to be a fight after school. Remember, this is Idaho. So in Idaho, high school or dances at high school level are handled a little bit differently than were back then. So we had chaperones, yeah, but none of them were like safety officers or intervention officers or anything like that would help us go through conflict resolution and anger management, whatever. No, this is Idaho. So I had to go find my brother because I figured there was going to be a fight after the dance. So I look around all the dark corners and I see him and I go up to him. I said, "Hey, Dan. And he doesn't pay attention. I said, "Dan, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I got to talk to you about something." And he kind of comes up for a breath and he goes, "Can't you see I'm busy? You idiot. What do you want?" So I told him there's going to be a fight. I told him what happened. And he goes, "You're so stupid. What'd you do wrong? I'm sure that it was your fault." I go, "I swear I didn't do anything. But there's going to be a fight and I'm going to need your help, or I'm going to get beat up." So he goes, "Okay, honey, just save the chair here. I'll be right back." He stands up and he goes, "Okay, where is this guy?" So I pointed him out. Pretty easy to find. Beard, big, strong, muscular guy with some friends that looked like they were no good, you know. So my brother walks up to this guy and he goes, "Hey, did you hit my brother in the mouth?" And the guy, boom, hits my brother in the mouth and hit him without kind of off guard. So my brother reaches back to hit him, and the chaperone grabs his arm and says, "Hey, boys, if you're going to fight, take it outside. That's Idaho. That's the Idaho way." So my brother Dan, he had some very colorful language, which I cannot use in this situation, but you can use your imagination, okay? And Dan said, "Okay, great. Let's go outside right now. I'm going to kick the shiz out of you right now, and let's go. You stupid little piece of cookie." So cookie, I don't know where that came from. But anyway, my brother says, "Let's go outside." The guy says, "Well, I don't have anything against you. I just have it against your brother. He was making fun of me." I said, "I was not. It wasn't you. It was a girl. I told you that." My brother said, "Well, you may not have anything against me, pal, but I got something against you, and I'm going to take care of it right now. I'm going to kick the crap out of you right now. Let's go." So the guy says, "Well, I'm not going outside unless I bring my friends with me." My brother said, "I don't care. I will kick the crap out of you individually or all of you at the same time. However you want to do it. Let's go right now. Come on. I got other things I got to do. Let's take care of it right now. And you guys won't be walking when you go home tonight, and your face is going to be all bloodied up, but I'm going to beat the crap out of you. Let's go." Well, my brother intimidated this guy, and the guy says, "All right, look, I'm sorry. You have had a really bad day. My girlfriend just broke up with me today," and girls being involved, usually girls being involved and guys, fighting and stuff. It's all part of our history, our evolutionary process of survival of the fittest. So he apologized. He said, "Then I got drunk and I came to the dance to get in a fight tonight. So I'm sorry to you and your brother. Uh, you know, I hope that you can just let it go and forgive me for doing that. It was stupid." So my brother said, oh, all right, okay. And I said, okay. I was being tough because I was standing behind him. So the guy walked away, and Dan went back to making out. And my friends and I started talking, and I told them what cowards they were. So anyway, at the end of the dance, Dan is walking his girlfriend, and I'm out kind of behind a bush watching these guys because I figured they're going to still try something, but they weren't. The four guys got in the car, and my brother was holding hands with his girlfriend, and he walked around their car. He didn't even know it was their car. It was wintertime, and the windows were fogged. And I go, man, what a stud my brother is. But when we got home, I told him, he says, I didn't even know it was their car. So anyway, that was my first and only fight. I don't believe in fighting. I think we can talk things out. But that's probably because I'm not a very good fighter. Never have been. I've been big and strong, and I've got in some words with people. But anyway, avoid violence, because if you're like me, someone might hit you and you might get into trouble with a gang of guys beating the crap out of you. So, like me, have a good sense of humor, talk your way out of it, do some conflict resolution, use some creativity, and be happy. And don't lose any teeth. And don't get scars on your lip. And you take care. That's the end of my story. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll talk to you again soon.